Hello and welcome everyone. Hope you are safe and in good health, keeping yourself cool and calm, and obviously fighting with the current situation. Today with us is Mr. Tanmay, who is he's the person who will be taking the workshop, not me. So he'll be in showing you the advanced level of using Metasploit. Right, Tanmay?
Yeah, absolutely correct, sir.
Okay. So, without any delay, it's a too long introduction which we have taken. So, without any delay, I think you can jump into the actual part and show them how to use Metasploit like a pro. I'll just ask, add your screen to the streaming. I think your screen is added. You can proceed, Tanmay. And everyone, for whoever watching this live from our Facebook page and from our YouTube page, please do like and subscribe to the channels, and also do feel free to ask question in the chat box. I will be there monitoring the chat, and Tanmay himself will be watching the chat as well, so he'll be replying back to our chat. Any questions, anything what you want to, you can definitely feel free to ask him. Thank you, Tanmay, you can proceed.
Okay, I just actually stopped my cam and
Yeah, your screen is visible.
okay, so firstly I just give my brief introductions about myself. So my name is Tanmay Bhattacharjee. I am actually the penetration tester and associate currently with Indian Cyber Security Solutions Private Limited. And I'm not taking too much time to about my certifications and what is my experience. So I just actually jump to my topic. So today's topic is actually about the Metasploit framework. So before that, there is some disclaimer, and this one is actually YouTube live, and this YouTube live is only for the educational and research purpose. Any misuse of the content of this video is strictly prohibited, and Indian Cyber Security Solution or me will not be accountable for any illegal activities. So today's topic is actually the Metasploit. So firstly, we just actually what is actually the Metasploit? So the Metasploit is actually the open source framework used for the penetration testing and exploit development. It is available for our Mac OS, means the Mac operating system, Windows and Linux operating system. And this Metasploit gives us a wide array of community contributed exploit and attack vector that can be used against various systems and technologies. And moreover, it is extensible and can be used to automate your own exploit, because this one is actually the automated tool. And Metasploit has a web interfaces, command line interface, and console interface like MSF console, who are actually working with ethical hacking, who are actually doing their global certification like CH, who are actually learning in the EJPT, who are actually pursuing for the WCP. So that person or the personnel is actually know about what is actually the Metasploit, and who are actually the starting their career and like to start their career in the ethical hacking. So ethical hacking or the professional ethical hacker. So Metasploit framework is very useful tool as a penetration tester or as a security researcher. So there is some, if you're looking for the MSF console or the Metasploit framework console, so there are some basic workflow. The first, what is actually the basic workflow, and means the what is actually the overview. So identify from the Metasploit, we actually identify the vulnerable service. We can searching for a proper exploit for that service and loading and configuring the exploit, because in my term, not so in my term, the Metasploit framework or the Metasploit is actually the rocket launcher. Okay, the rocket launcher. This one is an automated tool. This one is not a manual tool, but there is a lots of exploit module and the payloads are available inside of Metasploit or the Metasploit framework console. And we can also be running the exploit code and getting access to the vulnerable machines. And this one is actually developed or designed and maintained and funded by right now the Rapid 7. So jump to our, this one is actually the trusted. Okay, you can also be freely penetration who are actually using the Ubuntu Okay, in our offensive security or the penetration testing distributions like a Kali Linux or Parrot OS, Metasploit framework is pre-inbuilt. But who are actually using the Ubuntu, so you actually have to install this framework. So right now there are the two framework like a Metasploitable Pro and the Metasploitable framework. So this one is a free version, and this one is actually the paid version. You can also be look on there, so you can also be getting the free trial if you want to enjoy with this Metasploit Pro. So there is some information. The information you can available on the GitHub, like a Rapid7 Metasploit framework. You can also be check their commits from here and their details about README, how the what is actually the installation process, how to using the Metasploit and who actually contributing on here. And you can also work the beginner. So that is actually our YouTube live. My purpose is actually who are actually the beginner, they actually have to know about this Metasploit. But in the beginning phase, this one is actually very hard to understand about the Metasploit some commands. So whenever you or me or anyone is actually practicing and practicing and practicing with the Metasploit, then they actually understand what is actually the Metasploit and how this one is important in our penetration testing career. So if you're looking for the penetration testing career, so how this tool is actually support us, because this tool is actually having a wide array of attack at our disposal and ability to automate our own exploit. So this one is actually the things are here, and you can also be getting the tutorials from the medium.com. This one is my favorite one, and you can also be go through it, and you can getting the lots of commands from here, the medium.com. You can also be go through the tutorial like a GitHub. There is a lots of developers are writing how to write the Metasploit, what is actually the Metasploit plugins, and what is actually the things are here, what is the Metasploit framework, what is actually the reverse TCP, what is actually the bind TCP. The lots of things are available in the GitHubs as well. And you can also be getting the Metasploit some tutorials information from hacking articles. This one is the best blog in our offensive security. Okay, you will also be getting the lots of information from here. And there is some practical labs. You can also be get the overview about this one, this Metasploit. So first of all, and you can also be getting the tutorial from the Kali Linux. Okay, whenever you just open your web browser, and in this bookmark there is a MSFU. You just click on here, you're getting the Metasploit unleashed, and you're getting the total tutorials from here. And the left pan you can check the how to gather the information, how to do your vulnerability scanning, how to writing a simple fuzzer. Okay, so this one is actually the Ruby based. Okay, so you can, and not only the Ruby based, right now the Python script also be there inside in this Metasploit framework. So how to do your exploit development, how to do your web app exploit developing, client side attacks, and the lots of more. So this one is actually the tutorials. You can find out your useful commands and how to work with the Metasploit and what is actually the Metasploit architectures. Okay, because this is actually the code base, and there is actually the running by the database, and inside database we are actually the Metasploit framework is working with the services like PostgreSQL. This one is the RDBMS. Okay, so this one you can also be find out the more useful things from here. So I'm not wasting the time. So that comes to jump to our the practical lab. You can also be practicing the lab like a Metasploit from the Try Hack Me. This one is actually the educational purpose, not a illegal purpose. I said before in my disclaimer. So in this Metasploit, you can also be this is a platform. You can also be able to understand about the Metasploit, because I'm before starting these sessions, I actually start my lab, and you're getting the lots of information. And another one, the advanced lab, is actually by our attack defense. This is a Metasploit CTF. This is a community CTF, the community lab. You only get access for the 1 hours. Okay, so if I'm having the time, okay, so definitely I'm showing this exploit on this attack defense. Otherwise, I just actually showing this one on the Try Hack Me to for this educational purpose. So how to do, and before that, I am actually run the Metasploitable 2 in my VMware. This one is actually I downloaded from here, downloaded and install it from vulnerable hub. There's a lots of vulnerable virtual machines are available in this platform, so you can also download from here any virtual machines. So I just actually Metasploit table and hit enter. So there is a Metasploitable 1. You can start from Metasploitable 1, then you can move to Metasploitable 2 and the Metasploitable 3. This actually the working with the Vagrant. So now the comes on the point, we just actually right now, whenever I just download it, how to download it, I just show you. I just click on here. And this one is actually the Metasploitable 2, and this one is the name, and when this one it was released. And this is actually the bits. You can also be downloaded the zip as a zip. This is actually the 833 MB size. And you can, and this is actually the descriptions about Metasploitable 2. Wow. So, and this one is actually the checksum. You can also be verify this one, okay, with the checksum value whenever you just download your zip file. And this one is this virtual machines running format in a VMware, and operating system is a Linux or Linux. The pronunciation is depends on you. Okay, fine. So I also run my Metasploitable 2 on my this VMware, inside of this VMware on the same network. So I just full screen it, and firstly I just show you what is actually the path of Metasploit framework. So this is actually the path, okay, and this one is actually known as a terminal or bash or shell or console, anyone you can say. So you can also, if you are not familiar with what is actually the terminal on the beginner phase, just go to this folder, click on open folder, click on file system, this is the base directory, and here is a user, then after click on share, then after type here Metasploit. See, you get this folder from here. The same things is showing on here, and the same thing is showing me on this terminal. So whenever I just type the ls to check the directory, so the what is actually the files and directories are available, or the binaries are available inside on here. So here is the app config data documentations. Okay, documentations about Metasploit. You can also be check the documentations. The documentations is available. And here is the modules MSF console. This is the binaries are available about the MSF console, MSF DB, MSF RPC, and the lots of more. So firstly, I just check with the modules, because the most of cases we are actually working with the modules. So this one is a directory, because in the color coding, the blue color is actually showing known as a directory. So I just change the directory with modules. Now I just actually directory comes inside in modules and check with the ls. So in this Metasploit framework, now there are lots of features and functions are available. Okay. So whenever this is an auxiliary module, okay, this is the encoder modules, this is the eversions, exploit eversions, exploit, nops, payload, and post. So firstly, we just check with the payloads. So in my simple word, the payload is actually the malicious code. Which one is actually useful after exploit? And type on ls. So there's actually the three types of payloads are there. The first one is the singles, second one is the stagers, and third one is the stages. Okay, so whenever I just actually, before I'm just actually moving on here, so I actually open my MSF console on here. So for that, I actually run this one, the services. I start this services, the PostgreSQL. Then after, I just actually using the help option, MSFDB, the -h. Okay, unrecognized, and then after the, because this PostgreSQL, this service is running on port number 5433. Using the port number in our machine 5433. In our machine means in my Kali Linux. Now there is actually the options are here. The options is given us descriptions, clear description in simple English. Whenever I just use this command, that means this is a start and initialize the database. If I using this command, delete and re-initialize the database, and msfdb, because all this configuration of the db file is actually comes on this directory, config directories are there. So whenever I just initiate, because before that I actually start the PostgreSQL service in my console, and then after I again recheck with the initiate, because what is actually the meaning of initiate? Start and initialize the database. So again recheck, and it actually show me in my console database already started. The database appeared to be already configured. Then after I just type the command, because this Metasploit MSF console means Metasploit framework console. This one is actually open in our terminal. This framework is actually applicable in our terminal. So whenever I just actually open, you can also be check with this command. If you forget your commands, so definitely Kali Linux have familiarity and the big documentations on here. So minus help. I'm always using the minus help. Most of tool is not actually work with the -h, so I'm always using here the minus help. That depends on the penetration tester who actually using which command. Yeah. So here is some things are here about the Metasploit. This is actually known as a options. You can also be given the name like a switches. Okay, so these options, if you add this option with the Metasploit, so this is actually you just given the environment. What is actually the environment you can also select. So no database, VM, QAH, this option you can also be used with this one whenever you just type your MSF console. Okay. So now, whenever I just actually execute this binary in my console, so it's giving me some information. So this one is the current version, the Metasploit framework version 6. And in this version 6, there is a 2119 exploits are available here. 19 exploits are available here, like a search exploit. The search is whenever I just actually doing this one, otherwise I can also be use so there is a display all the 2119 exploit possibilities are here. Whenever I just click on yes, so this one I can use this of exploit code. Okay, so how you find this one is an exploit code. This is actually the stages, and the stages are here. Okay, so whenever you just actually doing the payloads, you also be getting the same payload options. So in the payload, I just actually, this is the 3 types of payloads, like a singles payload, stages payload, and the stages payload. Like I just going for the firstly the singles and type the ls. So in the single payloads is actually offered here for the different operating system and the different languages like AIX, Android, Apple iOS, BSD, CMD, and Firefox. Okay, there's a lots of things are here. So if I type, I just try to access any Windows. Just example like a Windows, and type ls. So this one is actually the stages. Sorry, the singles. The singles, there is actually the Windows. Okay, in the Windows, I just actually in the Windows, there is actually the single payloads are here. Like we actually sometimes are using the reverse_TCP. Okay, sometimes we are using the meter reverse_bind TCP, bind this one and the messages, execute and the load library, add user, and this one. Shell bind TCP, PowerShell. And you can also be using the x64 architectures payload on a single. So this one is actually there. Meter bind, reverse TCP, and see all sort that comes under .rb. .rb means .ruby. So on this directory comes now in the directory. I just actually choose this module and I choose the payload inside of the payload singles, and I'm choosing on terminal Windows and see all are the Ruby. Now you can also be open it. This is actually the script, which has been written by Ruby programming language. Anyone see the same things I also be getting in this GUI version with the graphical user interface, and you can also be checked from here. Otherwise, you can also be checked with your terminal like a cat. I'm not actually open here any this one any text editor. I just actually make this output in my console. So this one is actually the payloads as a singles, the L host, L port, exit functions. Okay, and there are some variables are here. Okay, what is the name, what did they include with the payloads and the windows and the single and the command shell option. Okay, so now what is actually the stages? If I just check with the stages, so the stages payloads available for platform like Windows, Python, PHP. So I just check with the Windows and type ls. See the reverse all the stages payload, reverse TCP all port. This one is actually the very useful stages payload. If the network admin or my remote area network is actually try to block my 4444 port number, 5555 port number, or 4 times 6 port number, I can also be creating the reverse shell from this one. Means anyone port is open. Okay, so I can also be getting this one, getting the listening mode and getting the reverse connectivity. Means I reversely I just establish the connection with my victim. And the reverse TCP, everyone is who are actually they are working with creating the payloads. They actually know about what is actually the reverse TCP. And reverse TCP means we actually providing the reverse shell on over the TCP IP network. So there are the two types of shells are we actually using in the Metasploit, and means the two types of TCP we are actually for the exploit we are using on there, like a reverse TCP or the bind TCP. Okay, in the reverse TCP, what actually they happen in the reverse TCP? The reverse TCP, the attacker is actually creating the payload with his IP address, and is actually open the listening port and he send the payload to the victim. Whenever victim interact with that payload, then after that payload is actually establish the reverse connection to the attacker machine. And what is actually the bind? In the bind TCP or the bind shell, the attacker on the victim side, the ports are open. We actually try to interact directly on that port number. So that is actually the things are here in the bind shell and the reverse shell. So we actually creating the reverse shell, the TCP or the bind TCP. We actually doing from here. So this one is actually about the Windows, about the stages. Now comes on the stages payload. Again, I just select the Windows and ls. So the meter printer. So meter printer is actually here. The meter printer is actually comes under the stages. Okay. So from this phase, you can also be actually creating your all the things like you just actually check the vulnerable services, which services are vulnerable, identifying the vulnerable services because identifying a vulnerable services is comes under the information gathering phase, and this information gathering phase is of the paramount importance for a successful professional ethical hacker or penetration tester. So moreover, you need to perform a vulnerability assessment. So before moving to the actual exploitation phase. Okay, so whenever you're not getting any vulnerability service, so this tool is not giving you this tools is not actually the profitable tools for you.
Right, Tanmay. So I'll just request you all who are watching this video to like if you have any kind of doubts till now, you can ask. Okay. Amarjit Kumar has mentioned that keep it up, sir. Thank you. It's to Tanmay, and he's watching. Another question was there. Actually, the banner was covering the maximum part of the screen, so we have removed that. So I think it's now visible to everyone. If you have any questions, please do come along. Yeah, continue, Tanmay.
Okay, thank you, sir. So the first, whenever you just actually working, I just cleared this one. So first, whenever I just open this MSF console, my command is help. Okay, so whenever I just actually in my beginning, because I'm also becomes here, okay, when I starting with my phases also in from my beginning phases, so definitely this command is very helpful for me on that phases, and not only that phases now in my current phases also. So whenever I just using any tools, I firstly check with the help and just actually try to read the documentation from their manual pages and just actually understand about the what is actually the function and features is available whenever I just using these tools. So this one is actually the core commands like a banner, cd, color. Okay, the connect command is actually work like a netcat. Okay, connect command, route command, this is a command, and this one is actually the module commands. These are module commands. In the module commands, whenever you're searching any modules, okay, the advanced, back, clear rm, favorite, info, list em, okay, load path, option, okay, pop mp. I just do before that. No, I just do one thing. I just check my Metasploitable 2 IP address with this help of command 1.6. Okay, so the search command, okay, the search, and this is a jobs command, the handler, whenever it's just running the handler, okay, start a payload handler as a job. Okay, there are jobs, kill a job whenever you just run any session, so you can also be kill that session. Resource keep command like a make rc and a resource, and this one is actually the database command. It just analyze the database information about the specific address, db connect, db disconnect. You can also be export and import your nmap, your nessus report inside of Metasploit. At db nmap, you can also be run your nmap from the databases, and db remove and db this one. This is actually the main two things is actually here for the Metasploit. This is actually the backend database backend command, and more powerful another one is a core command in his architecture. Then after the credential backend command, you just also using the crates, and the developer commands also be available here. And the MSF console, they actually providing you some suggestions, building the ranges and lists, okay. And this one and this one, the example terminate the first sessions, how you terminate, they given some examples out there. In the jobs command, okay, how to stop the some extra running jobs. This is actually the command, and the check is set up IP addresses, check your IP addresses, and the target is set up IP version 6 and this one. Okay. So now I just do my Nmap scan. Firstly check. Okay. Nmap scan from inside of this Metasploit framework. I'm not using -p minus right now because it takes a long time. So here I'm just actually using T4. I'm using, otherwise I'm not required the T4 also. Okay, the timing scan is T3, T4, T1, T0. Okay, the lots of Nmap cheat sheets are available in the online. You can also be checked from there what is actually the meaning of the time. But in the timing scan, we actually fix. In the T0, we actually doing the comprehensive and the low scan. And from the Nmap, you can also be getting the these options also. Okay, so whenever you do the intent scan, okay, that type of timing is automatically there. Whenever I just do the slow and comprehensive scan, so I can also be do the slow and comprehensive scan. So I just make this one as a T0 or T1 or T2. Okay, the T3 and the T4 and the T5 is the very first. So whenever I'm doing the comprehensive scan, whenever I just performing the penetration testing on any network, so that times I am using the T0 and T1. It takes little bit times like a 1 hour. Okay, minimum 1 hour. And whenever only the TCP scan is not important, UDP scans also be important. And whenever I was doing the UDP scan from the Nmap, it will take might be the 20 minutes to performing the UDP scan. So I just not actually mention any timing. I just actually given my target address. This is my target address. I'm not showing this one in Windows. This one is actually the Linux environment. I'm showing in the Linux environment. So my MSF6 is actually execute this one, the Nmap command, and it takes a little bit time. I'm not doing the aggressive scan on here. I just only doing here the version detection. Wow. So the FTP. Okay. So I'm actually getting the FTP, and this is the 21 number port. The service is running in the 21 number port. The service name is FTP in here, and the version. So always remember, guys, the port and protocols or services are not vulnerable. Their versions are vulnerable. The penetration tester or the ethical hacker is actually check the version firstly. So that's why this command is very useful for us. Okay, so whenever you just actually try to execute your script, you can also be execute your script. But as per here, so I just getting the version. So I just copy this version. Okay, now I am using, I just open MSF console on this tab also. I just easily actually showing you in which command I am actually using on in which place. I just use a clear and type help. I am here right now using the module commands. The module commands, there the first command is a search command. So what is actually a description? This is a command, search, using in the Metasploit. And what is actually descriptions about this search command? The searches, module names and description. Okay. So now I just actually using the search, and firstly you can also be checked with here like I just cleared this one and type a search and -h help. So whenever I just using the search minus help, -h means help. You can also be using the minus help. So -h show the help information is given us, -u, and the keywords are using here like aka, also known as. Okay, they also be given here the full name. What is actually the aka meanings is here. So this one is actually the things and how to search. Like they also be providing you the example. Like you want the exploit of the CVE 2009. The CVE meaning common vulnerability exposure. Okay, so you just actually searching the common vulnerability exposure from the 2009 and the exploit module you just actually want. Okay, like a 2009 exploit module you just want. I just copy it and paste it here. The best selection. So there's 105 exploit modules are available in the Metasploit. 105. And the based on CV 2009. Now the second example they given us, you can also manipulate whenever you just understand this actually this command. Okay, I just using the module command, and the module command I can use the CVE 2009. I just searching for the type of exploit and the platform of the Linux. You can also manipulate with the Windows, BSD, PHP, Java, Android, anything else. I'm not actually comes under the conflict. I just clear it and paste it here. So this is actually the Linux modules, but the exploit based on the CVE 2009. Okay, so here that is actually the things about the search command. Okay, so this is actually the syntax. This one is actually known as a syntax. Whenever we are using any commands, we maintain the syntax. Whenever we are not maintaining the syntax, so definitely they give us error. Okay, so I just clear it, and now I just actually the search. I just actually find out this version. I check any exploit module is actually available in our Metasploit framework or not. Do the information is gathering from here. Wow, voila. Yes, it's available. And the rank is excellent. And the disclosure date, this one is might be the CVE 2011. Okay, so I just verified it. I verified it. I just open a new tab. And to verify this one, I just actually open the tools like the command line interface tool. That tool name is a Searchploit. That this tools is actually designed by offensive security. And I just actually pen this one and hit enter. Wow. So here is actually the backdoor command execution. I can do the backdoor command execution from the Metasploit. Wow. Okay, they actually mention here. See? And the path also be given. This path is actually available, this one. Okay, the search exploits part the user share, there's a search exploits directories are there, and that path are actually available, that's one. So I just actually doing the online search. No? I am not actually remember lots of commands options are there, so I just actually frequently I using the help option, guys. So -w show the URL to exploitdb.com. Okay. Oh. Search exploit. Okay, -w. Okay, VSPD, hit enter. So this one is actually the path in the exploit DB. Okay, for the Metasploit, and another one is actually the Python script. Okay, so I just open the both URL. The first one is actually this one is actually giving the informations. The VSFTPD means the full form of the VSFTPD, Very Secure File Transfer Protocol Daemon, and version 2.3.4. If this version is running in any server, means there is a chance of backdoor command execution. Correct? So this one is actually the things are here. And if you check on the left pan, there is a search exploit manual also be available on here, and the exploit modules, and definitely you are inside of exploits. So date is 2019, exploit author this someone, software links is actually find out some things, and the CVE check 2011. Whenever I just find out on here, is actually showing me the 2011 disclosure date. So my automated tool is giving me the right answer, so not giving me the false positive. Okay, so now I just actually create on the Metasploit. Okay, you can also be, okay, whenever you do your manual with your own, you can also download this one of the exploit. Okay, and you can also manually check this one. Whenever you're not actually working, means in the WSCP examination, you are not actually using the Metasploit. Okay, so only the once time, not twice. I'm right now pursuing on there, but I'm just heard this one. I only once or twice time I just only use the Metasploit. Okay, so VS FTPD, the Metasploit. This module is actually available there. Okay. Otherwise, you can also be using. I'm using here my best friend like a Google, and type here VS FTPD 2.3.4 and check with the vulnerabilities in the weakness or the weak point. So the rapid 7 give us the some blocks. Okay, VS FTPD about the backdoor command executions. Okay, the packet pub also be given us, the CVE meter.org also be given us, the GitHub, there's a modules also be there, and exploit DB, the Unix remote, okay, exploit database also be there, 2011 253, yes, correct. And Metasploitable one also be having this one, some blocks are here. You can also be check whenever you're just performing them manually. Okay, so you can also be check with github.com. So definitely on my next sessions, I just actually exploit this. This one is my interest. I just actually showing the whole exploit of the Metasploitable 2 without using of Metasploit. I'm doing all the things with manually. So the github.com, and here the GitHub, lots of exploit codes are available. The different developers are here. Okay, so concentrate in our Metasploit. So I just actually in the search on this one, I actually getting this information. Okay, and based on my this Nmap scan, I doing Nmap scan inside of the Metasploit. Again, I just in another tab, I just open my Metasploit and search with this one, because this one is actually helpful for you. You just understand this one. If I am showing in the one console, that one actually making a pod bridge. So I just actually use this one, use this module. I just copy. Whenever I just actually use this module, in the module command, there is another command that is use. Okay, I'm not actually using here any shortcut key. You can also be do the Control Shift V, and I just use this module. So I'm not actually configure any payloads on here. Okay, and the defaulting to CMD Unix interact. Okay, means the default payload they are actually using this one, CMD Unix on here and interact. And just you can also be using the lots of payloads are here, like a set payload. If I type the set, this is actually the code command. Set is a code command. Whenever we are using any command inside of this module, that comes under the code command. The set is actually comes under the code command. So set -h. Okay, so this is actually the unknown set options and the value, and the set G, and the payloads are here. The show payloads, and this one the set payloads. So if I type the show payloads, and it's not showing me the show payloads options, so I just actually using this one, the payloads. I just type the set payloads. Give me the time. So set payloads, whenever you just want the set payloads like a Linux environment, so you can also be set with the payloads of the Linux environment. Let me check on here. Show command is actually set payload. Okay, it's not actually, tab is not working on it. So firstly, I just try with the show H. So on the show, this one is another code command, and I actually add the show all, show encoder, show knob, show payloads. Okay, show post, show plugin, show info. Another best command is the info. It's giving the informations about this module. Which module? This module. Okay, this one is a stagers payload. Okay, and there's a FTP is working on here, and this one, and information is actually given us. I just actually configured the R host, means my target IP address, and this one is actually working with the 21. Okay, and this one is actually given me the some informations like where is the modules are available. The modules are available in the exploit Unix. ls cd Unix ls. In the Unix there is actually the what they're showing me, Unix ftp. To change the directory with the ftp, you are all check here as a ftp directories are here, cd ftp and ls. So vs ftpd, these backdoors, this script is available. What is actually the inside of this script? So just type cat command and check. This is actually the payload which I am actually sending to my remote host. Okay, if there is a if this one is a vulnerable service, so definitely I just creating the backdoor, and so that's why this one is known as a backdoor command execution. So let me check. Okay, if I'm successful, so that is all up. So show options. In the show options, I am getting this is actually the mandatory field. I actually fill the blanks with my target IP address 06. Okay, and again type show options and check here. Yeah, this one is actually correctly configured in my rhost place. Now I just actually do, you can use the run command, otherwise exploit command. Wow, I get it. I access and my command shell is session is one is open and is execute successfully with this port number 6200 port number. And if you check on here, what is actually the hidden secret on this backdoor? He actually doing the port knocking. He knocking the port automatically. Now I'm showing you. Whenever I just doing the scan, Nmap scan, there is no any ports open like a 6200. Okay. So there is the one topic, is a port knocking topic. So this is actually the hidden secret behind on this backdoor. So that's why this one is actually name is a backdoor command execution. Help of port knocking. He actually doing the port knocking in the directly, because see here the remote host is actually using this IP address and the remote port I am just actually attack with the 21 number port. So definitely he's showing me the 21 number port, but instead of the 21 is actually showing me the 6200 port. Means through this one, whenever he's actually try to access on here, so this is actually the banner 2000 vs FTPD is actually getting. See, this one is the information, some information. This one is actually the useful. You try to access on vs FTPD through the 21 number port. Then after is actually check the user and please specify the password. Okay, so definitely whenever you just try to access the FTP and do the 10.1.1. my target machine IP address and hit enter. Definitely they're asking me the password username. If my username is I like it giving the MSF admin. Okay, so definitely they're asking me the password. Okay, the same case is actually the automatically is actually the happen by this one. So he's actually UID 0 is actually access and the GID root. This is actually the ID value of the root. I am directly access as a root privilege, because whenever you just actually there is the two types of privilege. One is a low level privilege and second one is a high level privilege. So I'm access on here in the high level privilege. If I have access here the low level privilege, so ID value is showing me the in the Linux operating system, that one is showing me the 1000. Okay, so if I type ID, I get the root ls, I getting the informations. Okay, I'm getting some informations on about the ls command on the root option, the bin, boot, cd-ram, and this information. So I just control jet and background this process, because this is actually the non-interactive shell. Okay, it's actually not showing me the anything. The anything like is not actually the human friendly. Okay, who actually not actually the beginner friendly, this one. So this one is actually known as a non-interactive shell. Okay, so I just make this non-interactive shell to interactive shell to help of the meter preter. I just want the meter preter session. Okay, so here whenever I just doing the control jet, so he's actually showing me the some things on here. Background session 1, I just actually doing the backgrounding. So what is now the meter preter? So the meter preter is actually the powerful shell in this Metasploit framework, and this one is actually take control over and the exploited machine, and you can also be install the backdoors. And this meter preter which runs on Android, your BSD, your Java, your Linux, your PHP, your Python, and Windows, or any vulnerable application. But right now I just actually remember this one. And the meter preter is actually provides many useful features, and from that features we can help a penetration tester whenever the penetration tester is actually looking for further infiltrate the target system and the network. So this one is actually if you're looking for the simple definition about meter preter, the meter preter is more than a simple shell. Okay, and from these shells we getting some advanced feature to gather the information, transfer the files between the attacker and the victim machines, and we can also install the backdoors and more. So this one is actually the things or the meter preter. So now if you type here, I'm not clearing. Okay, I just type here search meter preter. So this one is all sort of meter preter. Someone is the payloads. Okay, someone are the exploit modules. So total how many are there? Total is a 2018. So sorry, 218. For the Linux, for the Windows, for the Java, for the post exploitation, for the CV, the local 2020, for the Central Polar Authorization RCE on the Linux, remote command executions on the Central Polar 2018, and this one. So whenever I search the meter preter, I get in the lots of meter preters, some of the payloads for the Android, okay, for the Linux, and for the, because this one is comes under the stagers payload. Okay, this one is actually this comes under the stagers payload. So now I check whenever I just backgrounding this session from 1. So I just type here again the code command like a sessions. So on the sessions, whenever I just type, I'm just getting the ID 1, type shell, CMD Unix. I just using this one as a shell because the command shell executions are here, and they're actually using this one. I just interact with there in my default routing with this port number is actually this is actually the attackers one. This one is actually the victims. I directly is actually access on the victims. Now if I type here sessions minus help, so I just upgrade a shell to a meter preter sessions on many platform whenever I using minus u. So this shell I just actually upgrade this one to the meter preter session. So how to do? Type sessions minus u, and I just actually upgrade the session 1 and hit enter. Okay, the command stages is actually successful, And now I just again tap the sessions. So it's this one is the command stages. Whenever this post multi manage shell to the meter preter on the session 1 is upgrading, starting this one command stager progress, and this one again I do. Let me check. A job is in the listening and type in the session. I just try to interact with the sessions 1. Let me check. So it's starting the interaction, but it's not actually updated. The stopping the exploit multi handler ls. I'm only getting on the FTP service. I only getting this shell. Okay. So I just abort this session. Yes. User is exist from here, and now I just click the back, and I just clear this one. Now whenever I scan my target machine, I'm getting the another vulnerable port, another vulnerable service like a Samba. Okay, the Samba is actually not showing me the any versions on here, no any banner grabbing is actually here 139 and this one. Okay, for this reason I just cleared this screen and do the aggressive scan. Because in this aggressive the OS detections also be performing in here, and a default script scanning also be here. Using the search Samba. Type auxiliary scan module list, and the scanner is here in the auxiliary toss in the Samba. Okay, yes, I can also be using the SNMP client and the enum for Linux, but I'm not using for this enumeration purpose. I just only doing the aggressive scan on here. So whenever I just using this option or switches like a minus capital A, so I'm getting some information about SMB. The SMB, they're actually using the Unix, and they're actually giving me the banners are here like a Samba 3.0.20. I copy this one. I just clear it and search for Samba on here. I'm getting this option to the user map script. Okay, this is actually the available. I also check with Searchploit tool. I remove this one and paste it. So here is actually the format string user map script is actually working on here. The version, which one is actually less than this one. Okay, fine. So 3.0.25, and here is the version 3. Yeah, this one is actually the user map script I can use. So again, I just actually use this exploit module. Module is like a library, it's okay. And I just use it. So here I am actually getting the CMD Unix reverse underscore netcat. Okay, the another one payloads there by default. This one is actually here, and now I just check with the show options. This one is my listening host IP address, means my attacker machine IP address. The attacker machine is actually interact with the 4444. This actually interact the 139, the remote port and the remote host with my target machine IP address. This is the mandatory field. I just actually given the information, providing here the information on the target machine's IP address. I given here my target machine IP address. Now I just actually again just type show options. In the show options, I have successfully configured on here, and now I just do exploit. I can also be checked with the show target. Show target. There is a no exploit, it's the automatics one. Okay. Check the info. This is actually the information about this one. This one is actually the platform is Unix, architecture is CMD, privilege yes, rank is excellent, and this one is actually disclosed on 2007. Means are 14 years old. Now I just actually here I type exploit. Now the command shell session 2 is open on here. Again I just type ID, I get in the root. Now control Z, Y. And let me check sessions. The two sessions is with this one and the 4444. And now I just upgrade with the Metasploit sessions 2. Sending the stage, and the Metasploit session 3 is open. Okay. Now I just again type sessions, and I'm getting the 3 ID with the Metasploit. So that is actually the x86 Linux architecture. This one is actually execute, and the root activate of Metasploitable ID I'm getting value, and then again is actually using the 4433 automatically the port number. Now I just interact with ID number 3. To interact, I just using here -I option and 3. I access on the Metasploit session. Now whenever you just type a help, this of commands you can use inside the Metasploit session of the Metasploit sessions. Now if you type the system info, is giving me the information about target computer, the metasploitable.local domain, what is actually the operating system, the Ubuntu might be, I can also be find out the payload or the vulnerabilities on behalf of this Linux version. Then after they actually using the architectures like this one, and the Metasploit is actually working with this one. Now get UID. I actually get UID the server. I access on a root. And now whenever I just type if config, in the if config I actually using, I just getting this one. If there's any chances any other interfaces, there's a one interface, second interface, this one is the second interface, might be there's a chance that the third interface is connecting with another network. I can do also pivoting. Through this interface I can do the auto route and run my auto route command. I access on the another network, okay, with the help of subnet marks. But here is no any pivotings on here in this interface, and this interface is not actually connecting on another network, so there is no any chances for the pivoting or the auto route. Now I just actually type here like a hash dump. Let me check. The hash dump is not running on here on this command. I can also be using the local exploit suggester. Let me check. Firstly, I also be get briefs. What is the privilege? The get privilege are not supported by this meter types of this one. On this type is actually not getting this one. Okay, the get briefs command is actually giving us the what is actually the privilege I'm having on this system whenever I just actually getting the meter command, meter session. Then after with there, I can also be for the recon purpose local exploit suggester because I'm actually access on a root, so my IP is not actually giving us me the anything. Is collecting the local exploit for the x86 Linux. So note keeping is very important one. Okay, the whole commands remember is not possible for every to anyone. So note keeping is very mandatory task in penetration testing or in a professional ethical hacking. So it's searching for the local exploit for this one. So I just actually giving the small demo with this whenever I just actually the find out all the ports. Okay, and these the ports are there, the Apache. You can also be find out from the Metasploit if there's any vulnerability services are vulnerable services exploit modules are available in our Metasploit or not. Okay, in the same process, then after VNCs also be there, and Unreal IRCTC also be there, and the versions also be given here. Okay, the metasploitable.lan you can also be check with this one. And now comes to the platform. Okay, so in this platform they actually given us, and TryHack me is very beginner friendly. Okay, and whenever you just actually connect, we just communicate with the TryHack me any machine, so you have to run your OpenVPN. Okay, whenever you run your OpenVPN, so TryHackMe is actually providing you the virtual internet address, internet protocol address by their OpenVPN, and this one is right now they're actually providing their server. And then after, because we run the OpenVPN, because we creating the cryptographic channel. Okay, so from my private IP to private IP, I just do easily communicate through that VPN. So every the VPN full form is a virtual private network. So this one is my target machine IP address, and the target machine IP address is ICE. And please, guys who are actually watching this video or the YouTube live, so definitely not actually using on any infrastructure's network without any consent. Just just try to do practice on these types of platforms. Like there is a lots of platforms are available. You can also install, download it and install vulnerable virtual machines from the vulnerable hub, or you can also easily virtually practice on try hack me or hack the box, or there's an attack defense out there. So that is actually this platform is actually create our skill on here. And whenever you just doing our real penetration testing with the consent of honor, so then that time you're actually using this skill. So the Metasploit is and the open source penetration testing framework. I'm also be explain this one. Okay, whenever I just started, and maintained by the Rapid 7, and the collection is not thoroughly tested in the exploit. So this one is actually the resources also here, and there is a, if you want to stuck anywhere, check the YouTube tutorials. Okay, there's the links they are providing there. And some of the initializations are they actually the given to you, the Rapid 7 logo. You can also, if you have the I'm not actually promoting this try hack me. Okay, so this one is actually the very beginning friendly to make our skill. So that's why I'm just showing this platform. So you can also be, if you're a regular subscriber, you can also be using the browser-based Kali Linux or the attack box. Okay, and because whenever I'm actually showing something attack to someone, so I'm actually using this platform like a try hack me, hack the box, because this one is actually given us the example of real environment. So the same things they're actually doing the MSFDB initiate, the PostgreSQL they actually started. Okay, then after they do the MSF console -h, and this one is my target. Okay, and you can also be open like a. Now I just complete this one. I'm not required. I just clear it. I just clear it. Otherwise, it makes a little garbage. Okay, so you can also be. I firstly check the status of the PostgreSQL service. PostgreSQL status. Yeah, is active running. Now clear. And I just open this MSF console with the help of Q button in a quiet mode. Sorry, mistake. What's happened here? Why you are slow? So the MSF console -H, you just actually trigger for starting the console. Check this out using this command with the help option.
Tanmay,
Yes, sir. Yes,
there
sir.
is a question which Sanam has asked is, sir, what is the use of Metasploit, please, in deep language? I am not able to understand in deep language what is trying to mean.
Deep language means.
Please, Sanam, please clarify. We are not able to understand your question. Continue, please, Tanmay.
Okay. So this one is actually the quiet mode, and the quiet mode I actually open and see the MSF console or the Metasploit framework console. This one is actually the automated tool, and this tool is actually pre-inbuilt in our Kali Linux. Okay, so this is some actually I am actually giving you the some overview whenever I just started my sessions on here. So what is actually the basic workflow about the MSF console? These actually clear things are available on here, like identify a vulnerable service, searching for a proper exploit for that service, loading and configuring the exploit, loading and configuring the payload want to use, running exploit code, and getting access to the vulnerable machine. If I right now, I am actually giving the briefing of the MSF consoles architecture. So definitely, you can also be get your MSF consoles architecture just simple in our Google search bar. Type here Metasploit architecture, and there's a lots of things are here. Metasploit architecture explain, Metasploit architectures, and I just click on the any images are here like this one. I just open this one. Okay, so this one is actually the you can also be download in your PC and just actually because they are actually using the Rex because the lots of script for the exploit or the payload is actually running by the Ruby language, so that's why they're actually using the Rex. And there is the main things are there. They're actually using the MSF core. Little bit. Okay.
Tanmay,
Okay. Yes, sir.
Sanam wants to what he's telling is displaying it in the screen itself. I mean that explain from it basic to advanced what is the main use of Metasploit. So he is not able to understand the use of Metasploit from the basic.
Okay, so from the use of the Metasploit, so
Yeah.
whenever we
So
just actually
what
yes,
is the
sir.
actual use of Metasploit, where it is required, and then because we are explaining in the advanced level, so Saram, we are actually this is an advanced level use of Metasploit. So understanding the requirement of Metasploit, where it is being used, I think Tanmay can explain. Please give him 2-3 minutes to explain. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, absolutely.
Tanmay, like after completing it, because you will be interrupted with your flow. So after completing your session, you can just take up this question and answer him where it is being used.
Okay. I just actually taken my flow whenever I just completed my session. Then after I just explain
Yeah,
it.
definitely.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
So this one is actually the things I just actually open the MSF console. So when we actually using the Metasploit, so Metasploit have a lots of features and the functions. So I just actually find out I just actually completed this one. So on the queue module, you just actually see whenever I just using the queue, so I'm not getting any banner. Check the difference between both of them. अरे यार, MSF console. So this one is actually see the differences with the MSF console and with the MSF console minus Q means the quiet mode. Okay, so whenever we just actually using the this one, I just actually not required any banner. So that time I'm actually using the MSF console minus Q. So right now whenever I just actually things, now I just actually copy this IP address. Now I'm showing you why we require. Definitely the Sanam is actually asking the questions and the questions is actually clear now after this one. Now I'm doing the Nmap scan. Check here any Nmap script, city Nmap? No. Good. I just creating the directory like a Nmap and clear it. I just little bit zoom in and Nmap minus capital A. I'm not actually using any one minus on Nmap initial and IP address. It takes a little bit time. So let's complete this one. So my database also with the running. Go ahead to start the Metasploit via the command of MSF console. Okay, so we have actually connected to the database. So database we are connected or not. Let me verify from here. Like I just actually using the help command and the help command in the database status. I just copy this database status and paste it here. Yeah, no connections are actually creating on here. Okay, so in this here is actually no connections are here. So if I just click on here and just type the db underscore status, no connections are here. So whenever you're not getting the PostgreSQL is selected but no connection is here, so that times service PostgreSQL to the restart and msfdb minus h creating the initial database schema And this is actually the migrate running tux, and that's see the pull trace by the running, and TP is migrate. Okay, let me check. Yeah, so my Nmap scan is complete on here. Okay, so here I'm actually getting the informations like a 135, 139, 445. These ports are open. Okay, and the RDP ports also we are open, and I'm getting some informations like a host script, SMB more dangerous, SMB this one is giving me the dangerous one. So right now after that I'm actually using my script, okay, the Nmap script, Nmap minus minus script vulnerabilities and the IP address. So here is actually giving the 3389 for the TCP wrapped. The TCP wrapped is actually showing here because I'm doing the aggressive scan. Okay, so sometimes the aggressive scan, due to the aggressive scan, some ports are is actually showing as the TCP wrap, means the server is actually taken the request, but it's not actually given as a proper response. So that's why it's actually showing me the TCP wrapped. And 537 and this one 8000. Wow, the icecast streaming media server. Okay, icecast streaming media server is running on the 8000 port. Firstly, I check there is any vulnerabilities on this SMB on any services or not. So I just getting the different things on here. Icecast. So let me check. I just actually exit from here. And let me check with the search exploit. I'm not recently, I'm not actually working with any Metasploit, okay? Icecast. The header override, the remote code executions are there. Two Windows 8 remote code execution. One is there. Okay. Icecast streaming server. Let me open this one from my browser. The source you requested could not be found. Is running on the 8000. Okay, fine. The OS match is not actually happening on here. The network distance dark PC. SMB discovery is actually doing, this one is actually the Windows 7. Security vulnerabilities, version 1. Security vulnerabilities, remote code execution for the Icecast server. Icecast header override the vulnerabilities, exploit Icecast is actually search exploit is actually given me the option to exploit the search manual. Okay, let me check the instructions on here. Here the modules are here. This is actually the architectures up there. DB Nmap, the version is not actually showing me. Only the HTTP Icecast header. PostgreSQL. The search exploit also be showing me the Icecast. Okay. These servers also be the vulnerable by MS17-010, but it's not showing me the any informations about the Icecast. Okay, so let firstly try with the see in the script on here the SMB is actually vulnerable on here. Okay, the vulnerable remote code execution vulnerabilities in the Microsoft SMB version 1 server. Still now I am not using anything. Okay, you can also performing your port scan, ARP scan from like you just type the search and ARP. Okay, there's a lots of ARP scanners like ARP sweep. Use module V and type options and set rhost 10.my, this one is my IP address, like a 24. And now just similar command of run. So one is appeared to be up. Okay. 100, 104, 106. You can also be doing the ARP scan from the Metasploit. I'm saying in my whenever I just start my session, we can using lots of command. There is a lots of features and functionalities. We can performing lots of things from the Metasploit. Metasploit is like a rocket launcher. You can also set any missile from the Metasploit. That Metasploit, that framework is actually launching that missile. You actually not check which missile that's one. Only your vulnerability services, if that services you identify that one is vulnerable, if your payload is correct, Metasploit is actually a very absolute good tool for the automated process. Now I just actually back from here and I can also performing the port scan from the Metasploit. I using the search command and type here port scan. So I am using here the TCP. You can also be doing the XMA scan, SEK scan. Okay, lots of things are available. I just actually using the TCP. I just copy this selection and paste it here. And before that, I just type here use. And again, type show options. They're actually asking me the rhost. So I just actually working with rhost 10.1.1. 1.106. Okay, and just click on it, run. See the TCP ports are open on here, but it's not actually giving you the features like Nmap. This one is actually the things are here. We are doing the ARP. We are actually doing the port scanning from the Metasploit. So I'm just getting here the vulnerability like a MS17-010. Okay, so I just actually cleared this one and I just come on here based on this one, the Icecast. I'm not actually using. I just actually firstly check with this one back and clear this one and just search with MS17. This is actually the Microsoft Security 17-010, the eternal blue vulnerabilities. And if this one is a Windows 7, because in the banner grabbing process is actually showing me this one is actually the operating system they using the auxiliary double pulsar eternal blue. Let me check. Please 0. They're using the x64 meter by default. So I just only options and I just giving the rhost set R hosts and 10 dot, this is the IP address now, because I exploit on that one. L host, I
Hello,
just
Tanmay.
copy my tunnel. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Sanam has another question. He wanted to know about the payload and how it can be created for the Android because he's unable to create that. So I think we can do it for the next workshop. So his question is, sir, please make payload and how can we run it in Android? I try many times, but it doesn't install in other devices.
Yeah, yes, sir. The sometimes is from the Metasploit framework, now because the Android features are daily updated.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, so daily updated their Android features. So recently on the Metasploit, whenever we actually not using the proper jar sign.
Hmm.
Okay, the jar
Sure.
sign, we are not using the proper jar sign. We are actually creating the payload. Normal payload we can create, but whenever you are
Hmm.
not using the proper jar sign, so
Hmm.
whenever we install and downloaded that payload in our Android devices, so there
Hmm.
is a less of chances we're getting the reverse connection.
Device connection to be done, right? I think we can take this as a next like topic for the next week, and you can come along live and we can explain this. We can take this as the next topic for using Metasploit in
Definitely,
Android.
sir.
Yeah.
Definitely, sir. Definitely, sir.
Thank you, Sanam,
The
for this.
sir,
Really.
I'm not using the Metasploit. I'm actually using the MSF Venom and another tools for
Mm-hmm.
Android one, but in my local devices.
Right.
Okay, in my
Right.
local devices, I'm not actually showing over the internet any attack.
No, we will not be showing it over the internet. We will be showing it on the local devices as well.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
So
Sir,
I
I
think,
just give me the 5 minutes. I just completed my
yeah, yeah,
sessions
yeah, please,
within the five
please.
minutes. Okay, sir. So lhost, I just actually using my tunnel IP address, and my tunnel IP address is this one, my Kali Linux tunnel IP address. So I just actually copy this one and paste this one. Okay, the L port I just remaining same. I'm not changing any listening port. So now I just actually using the R host. Set R hosts. I check this one is actually because the Nmap script is actually showing me this one is a vulnerable. I just copy it and paste it over here. Wow, all things are set. I hope this one is perfect. Show options, yeah, this one is running on the Windows 7. Yes. Okay. Check me. Yes, the operating system is the Windows 7 Professional. This one is Service Pack. And let me check the target. Windows 7 and the server 2008. Okay. You can also be do one thing that is actually the advanced one. You can also be using the show advanced command, and you can also be manipulate these commands also. Okay, like a auto load HTTPI true. This one you can also make it false. Okay, you can also be auto verify the session timeout. You can also manipulate this one. Which one is a mandatory? They were actually asking you the yes, enable the Unicode encoding. You can also be make false to true. Okay, this is actually the advanced command. You can also be manipulate this advanced command. And you can also be stage encoding fallback. You can also make it false. And the verbose workspace, you can also make it true. So now, right now, I just actually do exploit. If this payload is correct, then I actually successfully exploit. If this payload is not correct, I'm not actually, it's exploited, but it's not executed. Because host is like a vulnerable is actually showing me here when they're actually running this one. Auxiliary scanner, the host is likely vulnerable with the MS17-010. The target is vulnerable. Then after is check, yeah, host is vulnerable. Sending the final SMB buffer is actually sending stage. I hope so. I'm getting meter, yes. Okay, now just use your help command and check what's are there. Okay, as a this one in the help command, you can also be using the bg load, machine id, migrate, pivoting. Okay, manage the pivot listener, resource run. You can use the bunch of command and the bunch of bundles of commands are available in the Metasploit. And you can also be do your clearing track activities from this command. Clear the event log. Okay, this is actually the system command. You can also be means you can do the information gathering. You can do the scanning and enumerations, not an enumeration, only scanning. Okay, because this one is actually the automated tool. Might be these tools given you or me a false positive report. So definitely from the enumeration part, on every port you can check the different tools for the different services. And whenever you just actually using this one, the gaining access process you can also be do from the Metasploit. Maintaining access or the post exploitations you can also be do from the Metasploit. Pivoting or the auto routing you can do also from the Metasploit. And clearing track. Okay, only the reporting facilities is not available in here. And I hope so the some after some year the reporting you can also be generate the report from here. Definitely you can import the reports, okay, and export the reports, but that one is not a proper one. Okay, so this one is actually get. I just firstly take the sysinfo. This is actually the information. The computer name is the dark PC, the dark star. This room is actually creating by the dark star. And get UID. Let me check with the get UID. Hola. I just getting the NT authority permission. Okay, if I'm getting the high level permission from here. Now get system. I hope so it's not required the get system because I'm actually getting this one. So now I just check the hash dump. Wow. Use the NTLM hash. Okay. So now I just if I type for the post exploitation, I just using the plugins like load. I just loading the plugin like a load kiwi and just type a help. And whenever I just do, so I just also creates all LSA dump secret. Okay, LSA dump SAM. The SAM is like a security account manager. Okay, you can also be dumping your SAM from the SAM. And secret you can also be dumping here. And this one and the Wi-Fi list also be here. So I just check there's any pivoting facilities are there or not. No, there are no any pivoting. So for the pivoting now we just actually using the run auto route. Let me check. This one is actually auto route manage. You're actually doing the auto routing for the pivoting purpose. Okay, you just actually the auto route and you just giving the auto route and your IP address, interface IP address, and with the subnet marks, you're doing the auto routing. Okay, so most of cases we are using this command. Like example, add the route to get this one. This automatically add the different interface IP address on my this Metasploit. So there's too much time I've taken. Okay, so definitely I just discuss on my next stations Android. Otherwise, I just actually using the Metasploitable 2. Okay, Metasploitable 2, and in the Metasploitable 2, I just actually exploit the every ports without help of Metasploit. I'm do the all the things without Metasploit. So thank you, sir. Okay, because I'm taking too much time in the next station, so we actually given the debriefing of the Metasploit. Hello.
Thank you, Tanmay.
Because sir, there is a lots of commands are there. Okay,
Right,
if I'm
right.
just going
So
to
you
the, it
can't
takes a
cover it
4 to
in
5
one day.
hours.
Okay, I'm having another session, so I need to rush to that session as well. So thank you, Tanmay, for your time, and thanks people who have joined and asked questions. I hope in the next few live we can get more questions, and that can encourage us in a much better way. So stay safe, stay healthy, and obviously we can fight together this virus, and we'll come back again. And on the part of cybersecurity trainings and everything, obviously we are there. You can contact us, and who are watching this live from YouTube page, please do subscribe to our page and like us. We are coming up with various new live sessions, and asking other people also to join. There are many people from the industry who will be joining us and sharing their knowledge and how they have worked in the cybersecurity domain. So thank you all for attending. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.